In United States history, you might have heard of something referred to as the Great Awakening, which took place back in the 1700s. We are taught that when the Puritans first came to the Americas in the 1600s, they were quite passionate about their beliefs. But over an extended amount of time, people started to fall asleep in church, and overall church activity began to wane. That is until the 1700s, when some preachers came over from England that started waking people up by getting really loud and animated and preaching fire and damnation to all those who wouldn't repent. It really stirred the people up, and people came from all around to hear them speak, so much so that there wasn't enough room in the chapels to fit everyone. So they started preaching outside. Now, as we know, the concept of the flat earth dates way back into ancient times, but over an extended amount of time, many people gradually fell asleep to this concept. But it too experienced a great awakening in the year 1881, when Samuel Rowbotham wrote and published his book, Zetetic Astronomy, Earth Not a Globe. This book caused quite the commotion and inspired many others to start looking into things for themselves and write their own books on the matter, such as Alexander Gleason's Is the Bible from Heaven? Is the Earth a Globe? Many of us are aware of the Gleason map, but not as many of us are aware that Gleason wrote an entire book to go with it. There's a link to that in this video's description. Other books that are worth looking into from that time period are Zetetic Cosmogony by Thomas Winship and Terra Firma, Earth Not a Planet by David Wardlaw Scott. I've got links to those as well. There are more books than that, but you get the picture. Zetetic Astronomy was an extremely influential book that woke a lot of people up. One really notable person that it woke up was a pastor by the name of John Alexander Dowie, who some today refer to as one of God's generals. Dowie was a Scottish-Australian minister who immigrated to the Americas and founded the Christian Catholic Apostolic Church and openly taught flat earth to his congregation. He had such a large following that he even founded a city just north of Chicago in 1901 called the City of Zion. At the time, it was home to about 6,000 flat earthers. Here is a picture of their school, which taught 1,000 students and openly taught flat earth. There are a ton of old newspapers out there that talk about it, and many of them say word for word the exact same thing under different headlines. I think that alone says a lot about the kind of puppeteering that goes on in the world we live in.
Shopping for this holiday season. It's okay, you can admit it, if you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
Well, it's okay, you can admit it if you have bought an item or 2 or maybe 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it. You've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it, Todd. If you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought.
Anyway, here's a picture of their church tabernacle, which seated 10,000 people from not just the city of Zion, but also people from Chicago and the surrounding area. This is a picture of their tabernacle choir. And here's a view from the choir looking out at the audience. That is a lot of flat earthers right there. Unfortunately, though, they certainly had their enemies, and their tabernacle got burnt down in an arson attack in 1937. Dowie's successor was a man by the name of Wilbur Glenn Voliva, and what he became really famous for was his radio station, which according to Popular Communications magazine could be heard across North and Central America and even out into the ocean. It was located right there in the city of Zion, but as I mentioned, they had their enemies, and this too got burnt down in the arson attack of 1937. After that, they relocated their radio station, and 10 years later, in 1947, someone flew a plane into their new 420-foot radio tower. Overall, The 1920s and 30s really wasn't that long ago. Yet so many of us, even seasoned flat earthers, have never even heard of this city. This is some serious buried treasure right there in our own backyards. There is still so much more to be said on this city and the stories within it. I'll keep digging and let you know what I find. Thanks for watching, everyone. This message has been brought to you by the Flat Earth Institute of Science. With a special thank you to Karen B. for bringing this to my attention.
He's looking at you, kid.